All right, in this video, we're going to learn how to paint our model and use that model in the game. Now, I'll show you how to do it in the game later. For now, we're just going to paint it and develop a image. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to select Cycles Render. I'm going to press N to remove that window there because we do not need it. And I'm going to create two more windows, one for our node editor and one for our UV unmap thingy. So the bottom one I typically have as node editor, and the top one UV map. Now, because I just did this part, you won't see this here. So I'm going to delete that. But what you will see is if you chose Cycles Render, which you should, you will see Diffuse, BSDF, and Material Output. Let me press N on this screen to remove that. Okay. From here, you're going to select well, actually, you probably won't see this. Once you get this node editor up, it will look like just a screen. You're going to press Use Nodes down here to get these two things to appear. Once that is done, we can, we'll cover that part a little later. But first, let's go over to the right and select this little ball thing. We're going to go into here and we're going to name this something, Paint Stuff. Name it whatever you want. So that's going to be a texture we have. We're going to unwrap this image real quick, and to do that, we go to Edit Mode. We're going to go to, well, as you see, it's already unwrapped, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. We're going to go to Mesh, UV Unwrap, and Smart UV Project. From here, the only thing you really want to pay attention to is the island margin. What this does is, if you go up into this and you see the space, it's not really a lot of space. But if you want some space in between it, I would move it around, and I'd go to 9 and press OK. And as you see, it actually made a lot of space, but let's press Control Z to go back because I don't want that. I just want to keep it here. Okay, now that we have it unmapped, we're going to select New Map Image. New image, and we're going to name it whatever you want. Just don't make it the same as this. All right, we're going to go back a little bit and make it nice. Now that this is the image we're going to write on. So we're going to go back to the node editor, select Add, Texture, and Image Texture, and this will appear. We're going to put that there. We're going to go to Open. Whoops, we're not going to go to Open. Here we go. We're going to select this little picture thing. And remember how we created a map image up here on the UV window? We're going to select it right here. So now we have this selected and we have map image selected. So at this point, we are ready to paint. So in order to paint, you're going to go down to Edit Mode and go to Texture Paint Mode. And you should have your brush and everything here, and it will turn black. That is what we want. Sometimes you may not have the brush here, but I forget what the option is. All you got to do is hit Add Brush, and a little window will appear, and then select Normal Mode or something that says Normal, and then you'll have this screen. So sometimes that may be confusing. Just you may have to explore around with the options a little bit to get it to work. But if you're stuck, just send me a comment, and I will try and help you out. All right, from here, we are free to paint whatever we want. Before we start painting, you can either paint in a 3D model view, or you can paint on the UV image here. To do the UV image, we're going to select View and Paint. So now we can paint on this. But I'm not going to do it that way, so I'm going to go back to View. Okay, now that we're at the 3D view, we're going to start painting. So our radius is at 50, so we can tone it down, or we can put it to 100. You can put it whatever you want. And the strength, well, you'll get the point when you mess with this thing. We're going to leave the strength as it is. And we're going to make this a little bit darker. There we go. And we're going to hold the left mouse button and start dragging and painting. So we're going to hold the middle mouse button to move and go on the back side and paint again. Just imagine you are actually spray painting your actual gun. This is how it's going to seem like it is. You got to get it all angles, get it in there real good, and if you've actually spray painted a weapon, you will see some similarities on how it is. Okay, a thing to note is you have some dark spots, you can left click again to get rid of those dark spots, but I recommend to keep them in there. They can actually look like it has some wear and tear and dirt on the weapon in the game, and that adds some really nice, let me say, value for lack of a better word. It actually looks pretty cool in game. So once you're painting, you should see the results over here. And as you see, some is gray and some is not. So that looks pretty good for now. Let's go to the barrel on the front and let's paint that. So for right now, I'm going to make it seem like it's dirty. So, well, it's a zombie world, so I'm going to make it a little dirty. You can make it pristine color. You can do whatever you want. It's your model if you're following along as I do this. Now, since this is a barrel up here, I'm going to paint that a different color. Go on the other side and do it again. A few things to keep in mind. It's okay that you're messing up. Like you're not drawing in the lines in kindergarten. That's cool. It don't matter. It only adds an awesome effect in the game. Like I said before, it could be dirt or something. So you don't have to go crazy with how perfect it must look. I mean, you can do that too. Your weapon is going to look really good in game, but just keep in mind all this detail may not show. So you can do some bad work in this, but it turns out once you're in game, it looks beautiful. So you never know. Okay, so this is way too dark. We're gonna make it a tad bit darker than the barrel, and we're gonna spray paint it. We definitely want two different obvious shades of color because this dark black, it just kind of looks ugly in the game. Okay, I am gonna, you know what? What I like to do is I'm gonna go to, oh, not that dark. I'm gonna make it a little bit darker, and I'm gonna adjust my radius to 25. And I'm gonna paint this site up here, and I'm gonna repeatedly click to make it darker. Because if I left click and hold it and do that, it's gonna be one shade of darkness. But if I left click again and do it, it's gonna be way more darker. What I like to do is paint the front sight and the rear sight this color, and maybe some accents like this little cap for where the slugs go. That way, it actually kind of shows in game and it gives a little variety, and it's not just one gray stick that you're carrying and shooting magical shells from. So you can spend a few minutes to a few hours. It's up to you, really. You can be, yeah, you get the point. So here we go. We've just colored the model, and we've got what we have over here, and it's colored too. So let's say you're satisfied with this. So to get it in the game, it's simple. Go to your UV image window to the top right, and you see how it says image and the star? Well, you want to save it as. So we're going to go to the desktop and save it as M1014 paint, something simple. And please make sure it says .png because that is very important. So we're going to save the image. So to be sure that actually saved, let's go and check the desktop. And here you see we have it saved. Let's click it up and open it. So this looks like, you know what? Let me give you an example. You go to Grand Theft Auto and you install like a gun mod, and sometimes you see something like this. It's like, how the hell did that happen? It looks intimidating. Yes, I know. But now you can have a better understanding of how other people made things. It's actually easier than you think. Okay, so now that we have that and we've confirmed it's saved, let's go back in here and I'll teach you one more thing. So let's say you want to make this really detailed, but it takes so long you got to save your work. It's very important to know that every change, like what I just did right there, you're going to see a star. You're going to make sure you want to save it. Once you save it, you have a copy of this and it's on your desktop. But also make sure you save the Blender file and hit save. That way you can go back and finish your work. If you don't do it, it's not going to save it, and you might mess some things up. I mean, power might happen, or a power outage might happen. It's always good to save work, so that's the point. Okay, so we've colored this thing. That's all you have to do. You're done. Once you have that file, that's all you need. Now, there's a lot more work to be involved, but it's not that bad. The next step is to learn how to program this thing into the game, and that's actually easier than it sounds. We'll cover that in another video, but for right now, the coloring how-to in Blender is pretty much done. If you have any questions or if something doesn't work for you, leave a comment. I will do my best to get back to you. But other than that, enjoy your painting, and I hope to see some awesome models you guys may make. So have fun modeling.